Are we really trapped in the Matrix? Dr. Claudia Albers seems to think so, or at least some religiously deluded version of it. Crazy people are everywhere, and this time out, we're going to leave the realm of strictly religious lunatics and see one that, well, alright, religion has a lot to do with her too. Did you ever notice just how many crazy conspiracies can't exist without religion? That's kind of curious, isn't it? So strap in as we go down the insanity rabbit hole. Have fun! This one was a request that I take a gander at Dr., and I use that word in quotes, Claudia Albers, a former academic who now pushes a religious interpretation of massive conspiracy theories and upcoming space disasters. This person is a complete loon. But I think it's important that we don't just focus on the religious lunatics, and that we realize that there are crazies out there everywhere. Flat earthers, anti-vaxxers, all kinds of alien and cryptid believers. You name it, there's probably some lunatic online that believes it. This is just one example, and it's a good reason why we should not focus too closely on just one thing. There's a whole lot of irrationality out there. So let's go take a look.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X research and professional physicist. And today I'd like to bring to you another one of my articles. This one's entitled Lucifer's Matrix and God's Technology.
So, in other words, you're just a loony, huh? Now, yes, it is probably true that a lot of the people that I look at here are also, likewise, out of their freaking minds. But I honestly try not to go after people for whom it is painfully obvious that they've got something severely wrong upstairs. But this is a request, and therefore, I'm going to go with it. Now, let me get this straight. Claudia Albers was a physicist who taught in South Africa. Then she went completely out of her mind, stopped teaching, which I guess is a good thing for those poor students, and now runs around spouting Planet X nonsense full time. She is insane. There is nothing at all credible about anything that she says. But hey, I guess this just might be educational at least, right?
Now, in Article 1391 entitled The Matrix, the connection between Planet X and 666.
Wait. Are we just looking at her script here? Is this all she's going to do? Show us her script and then read it to us? Because that seems rather boring. Now, granted, I haven't seen video 1391, but I honestly don't think that she's actually proven any of this garbage. Now, of course, please tell me if I'm wrong, but I get the distinct sense that she's just making this crap up and putting it up on YouTube because she's got a couple of screws missing. This is exactly the same kind of thing that we see from the religious, isn't it? Yes, she is a religious nutball too, but her degree really isn't doing her any good here, is it? It's just empty claims and absurd rationalizations to get to an emotionally satisfying conclusion. So, nothing unusual here in other words. But okay, Claudia, go ahead. Keep reading to us.
I detailed how the prince of the power of the air, or Lucifer, the inventor of death, uses a sophisticated computer system to control his deception operation in the Earth's atmosphere, as well as to track and hack the minds of human beings living on the planet. I have also detailed in previous articles how earth is really a trap for him, and that no matter how hard he tries, he can only end up at the exact place that God has planned.
Says who? I mean, really, says who? Because how is this any different than someone explaining how the world of Harry Potter works? This is very clearly someone breaking into her own supply. When you can't tell the difference between reality and fantasy, there is something clearly broken up in the tower. This really reminds me of a lot of old school preachers who just go completely off the rails and start preaching on things they cannot conceivably know, just because it makes some kind of weird sense in their heads. I don't know if they're hearing voices or what, but this is supposed to be a scientist, in quotes again, yet she's doing absolutely nothing remotely scientifically valid.
You may look at Article 1354 for details on that. This is really because God's mind is so superior to Lucifer's own mind or computer system that there is no comparison. God is able to know and control everything happening everywhere in the universe at the same time. God has so much wisdom that he can work out the outcome of any action to the nth degree. This is why he knows the end from the beginning. So God does not need any computer system. Lucifer's computer system is an attempt on his part to do something somewhat like what God can do.
She's actually serious. She thinks this is the bloody Matrix. Alright, someone call the men in the white coats with the love me jacket that ties in the back. Alright, I'll be honest, this is about the time, at about 1 minute and 34 seconds into her video, that I really started to question whether or not I should do this at all. Because honestly, the videos that I want to look at around here, they really ought to be somewhat coherent, and this, unfortunately, is not. It's why I avoid listening to things like Coast to Coast AM on the radio, because it's just a meeting place for these lunatics at a time when nobody in their right mind is going to be listening. And yes, from what I understand, she's been on the show. No surprise there. Alright, let's try to get through some more of this, shall we?
So this is an image from the Matrix, and the Matrix is Lucifer's computer system, which he uses to track and hack the mind of human beings.
So, you're really serious about this, aren't you? You think that the Matrix movie was, what, a documentary of some kind? Are you out of your freaking gourd? Yeah, of course you are. And it's funny that a university that she used to teach at issued a statement essentially calling her insane. According to Joao A.P. Rodriguez, head of the University of Witwatersrand School of Physics, he put it diplomatically, but he said, the university supports the freedom of people to hold and discuss contrarian views. However, so far as the sciences are concerned, the principles of the scientific method must guide the process. Debate outside this framework constitutes bad science, and the university distances itself from such practice. Yeah, she's a loon. Even her own former co-workers think so.
And Lucifer therefore controls humanity through the mind by hacking human beings' thought processes. But God is a spirit and communicates with us through our spirits. This is a communication at a much deeper level, but this is also why when we learn something, we have to learn it deeply. In other words, the understanding needs to drop into our spirits. Otherwise, Lucifer may be able to remove it from our minds through his matrix system.
I'd like to point out just how similar all of this is to the crap that we see from quote-unquote normal religious apologists. Because it really isn't any different when you think about it. She's just reading her own blog posts verbatim as though they're somehow automatically true, just like Christian apologists do with the Bible. It feels good or something bizarre like that. Therefore, it's got to be the gospel truth. She wants to believe in brown dwarf stars sucking off of the sun and, Luciferian brain control. Therefore, she doesn't bother to rationally question any of it. It just has to be true. It's why none of these idiots are worth listening to. They're only worth going after and discrediting. It's why this video, I guess, is worth struggling through, because it shines a light on the insanity of all of them.
God's infinite ability to think and perform calculations and work out outcomes far in the future is what allows him to be a complete master over everything, and why Lucifer always loses no matter what. As I detailed in article 1354, he tried over and over again to destroy me from the moment I was born. As a child, I developed many illnesses and always recovered. In July of this year, I felt sicker than I ever have in my whole life, and I recovered then as well. And in addition, I am still doing what God planned for me to do, completing the mission that I was born to complete.
I was waiting for the conspiracy theorist nonsense to show up. It's always in there somewhere. Everyone is out to get her because, of course they are. She thinks that NASA is lying about there being a brown dwarf star in the solar system, even though it would be painfully obvious that there was. A brown dwarf would have a gravitational pull stronger than that of Jupiter, after all. It's kind of hard to hide that, but she's convinced that it's all some kind of a grand conspiracy. For some reason, they're all out to get her.
Now, this is really God's technology, or at least it illustrates what God's technology is like. These are beautiful yellow roses at the Johannesburg Botanical Gardens in Johannesburg, where I used to live. And no rose is the same, no petal is the same, and they are alive and thus have a spiritual component. This is God's amazing technology, and you may look at article 1235 entitled Planets Are Alive, They Are Spiritual Entities.
Which is yet something else that she just yanked completely out of her ass. It's also starting to look like she's kind of obsessive-compulsive, with her need to keep everything precisely organized. Too bad she doesn't feel the need to be rational because, she's not. But let's continue. We're almost at the end.
So in conclusion, God does not need technology.
Wait a minute, hold up. Didn't you just say, just a second ago, that the plants are God's technology? So God doesn't need the technology that you said just a few seconds ago that God has. Okay, sure. Someone's brain is melting down.
Technology like computer systems are an attempt by Lucifer to accomplish something which only slightly emulates what God can do. God's ability is infinitely superior to Lucifer's, even with his sophisticated computer system. And what happened with his crucifying Jesus proves it, as it turned out to be his greatest mistake, close to the one he made when he came here and got Adam to fall, as it led to humanity being freed from death. That's Jesus' crucifixion, through the forgiveness of sin which Jesus paid for. God controls the final outcome on this planet through the Spirit which he has placed within man.
And therefore, Voldemort is evil because it says so in Article 1532 of the Gospel of Harry Potter. Okay, sure, whatever you say. This is all just wackadoodle nonsense. And you notice that she's footnoted her article with links to all of the other completely indefensible, unsupported articles that she's already written, right? Honestly, I'm kind of sorry that I had to expose you all to this complete craziness, but it goes to show that just because you have a degree, that doesn't mean that you have anything to say that makes a lick of sense. So, all right, go ahead and finish up, Claudia. You've just got us all shaking our heads.
And these are the references. This is Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X physicist. Thank you for watching.
Really, what do you even say to that? How is this any different than lunatics ranting on the street corner? Also, how is it really any different than what Frank Turek or Andy Bannister says? Honestly, where is the difference in this? I mean, some of them try, I stress try, to stick within spitting distance of reality, and some, well, some don't. I have no idea what happened to Claudia Albers. Did she just have a stroke and go completely out of her mind? Was she always crazy? Because this is not how rational people work. It wouldn't be, even without the ridiculous religious overtones. And you'd think that a trained scientist would know better. But nope, apparently not. Unfortunately, there's really no victory to win here. This is not someone that you can have a rational debate with. This is someone who probably hears voices and thinks it's God. This is someone who needs serious mental help. And I think that goes for a lot of the hardcore religious apologists that we talk about out there as well. These are not people who have good points. These are people who are complete lunatics. I only have to hope that she's not harming anybody else, because you often hear horror stories about the hardcore crazies going off the deep end and, well, I guess it's best that we don't go down that particular rabbit hole. Only madness and pain lie there. So anyway, what do you think? Is Albers completely out of her mind? Or do you think anything she has to say makes any kind of sense whatsoever? Let me know in the comments. For me, I think I have to go lie down. All of a sudden, I've got this massive headache.
Bum